I'm on my way to interview the owner of an interesting car. I'm on my way to have a bit of a chat with Jim about his Triumph TR7. Now, he only lives a few kilometres down the road, so I'll see you then. I'm here talking to Jim about this wonderful Triumph TR7. Now, how long have you owned this? Yeah, I got this car about 30 years ago. I bought it from a salvage yard, like an insurance write-off. Had a fair old dent in the rear guard, and I just went to the wreckers, got another mud guard, and got a panel beater to sort of fix it up and paint it the right colour. It was orange back then, and it then went on to be my road car for many, many years. Now, it looks like a rally car, but it's not. Yeah, that's right, it certainly looks the part. It's painted in the Works V8 colour scheme, even though it's not a V8. I suppose I had it about 5 years before I painted in this colour scheme. It certainly looks the part. It's not the sort of car you can get away with saying, no, that wasn't me, if somebody sees you out and about. And it certainly creates a bit of interest. I used to work at an educational institution, and there was a New Zealand guy with a car painted this colour scheme. Went in Targa, Tasmania quite often, and had a big spin out and done a big burnout around a hairpin bend, and that got on the news, and all the students came in the next day and were going, oh, saw you on the TV, oh, wasn't it wonderful? I went along with it and sort of pretended it was me. There's a few painted in this colour scheme floating around, but I've never actually seen one in the flesh. I've never, I have, well, way back. I got the colour scheme from an actual works car that somebody owned that's long since been sold on to another country, I think. And I actually got all the measurements for all the striping and the colours, and in the end we couldn't get the same colour, so we ended up just picking colours. But yeah, it certainly creates a bit of interest. Did you fit the Dolly Sprint motor? Yeah, it was a standard TR7 when I got it. I drove around that way for quite a few years. Then I bought this Dolly Sprint. Now I bought it pure and simply for the engine, and it was a car that had been off the road for some years, and I sort of went and looked at it at night, and it had a funny clutch, but I just put that down to sort of sitting around for all that time, and the hydraulics were on their way out. Engine ran fine, so yeah, I brought it home and pulled it out, and now TR7s have a different sump on them. So I took the dolly sump off to put the TR7 sump on, and well, I found the half moon sort of thrust washer that's part of the crankshaft, stop the crankshaft moving back and forth. And so when I found that in the sump, I said I had a look at the crank, and well, the crank had been going back and forth quite a bit and ground away the block and ground away the crank, and basically they were both buggered. And that explained why the clutch felt so funny, because the flywheel was going in and out. So that engine turned out to be junk. But I had so much Dolly stuff flying around that I used the head off it and another Dolly engine. And that actually turned out to be the first engine that I actually rebuilt myself. had it machined and what have you, and I mostly used second-hand parts. I have to say, it was sort of second-hand pistons, and I just put new timing chains and sprockets on it. But oh no, I didn't put sprockets on; they were second-hand as well. And that engine is still in the car, probably 25 years later. So quite proud of that. So, what other work have you done to it? Well, yeah, not that much really. I have done a brake conversion. The TR7 brakes in standard form are, well, downright dangerous. They make dolly brakes in standard form look absolutely wonderful. A decent downhill run on a sort of hill somewhere, and by the time you get to the bottom, you got no brakes. So I did buy a kit. Now it consists of a Volvo calipers, a 4-piston calipers off a Volvo sedan, and a Subaru Liberty rotor. Now it looks perfectly natural actually, and if you were a Triumph person, your average modern day mechanic that maybe knew nothing about Triumphs wouldn't pick it as being some sort of adaptation. It transformed the car really, as did fitting the Dolly Sprint motor. That totally transformed it, and Leyland Triumph should have done that from the first go. They're just so much, they breathe so much better, and they're just a better engine. Other than that, other than the paint job, and it's got a halder and what have you. I used to use this car for surveying rallies when I was organising rallies, so it's got a halder and a terror trip in it, and I used it in navigational events and what have you. It's never actually done proper motorsport, as you'd call it. Sort of time to the clock type, go as fast as you can motorsport. Mostly navigation events. Some navigation events have a motorsport component to them, but it's usually just a motor car or something, and that's pretty well all it's done. It's been around Eastern Creek as a pace car and that sort of thing, but yeah, other than that, I haven't done much else to it. Nylon bushes, and it's got a sump guard on it, and that sort of thing, but it's not overly modified. So why a TR7 and not a Ford Escort or a Datsun 1600? Well, I've owned British cars all my life. My first car was a Mini 850, and then I got a Cooper S Mini. My first rally car was a Cooper S Mini, and then I got a Leyland Marina. I wanted a rear-wheel drive car. I just couldn't get my head around a front-wheel drive car on a loose surface, and ended up with a Leyland Marina that I rallied for quite a few years. And then the Dolly Sprint as a rally car, and then as things improved, I suppose, I wanted a road car so that I wasn't driving around a rally car all the time, and I don't know, I just liked the look of TR7s, and I thought, oh, well, that'll do me. Do you have plans to do anything more to it? Yeah, there's a few jobs to do on the old TR7. I don't know how I drove it for 25 years as a road car with the steering so heavy. It's so heavy compared to even the 2500 and the Dolly. This thing is just heavy. So I bought a electric conversion. It comes as a kit. It was a bit pricey, but yeah, I haven't fitted it yet. It sort of goes on the steering column somehow. So I'll be doing that, and I think the fuel gauge is not working. And I bought some adjustable strut top camber caster adjusters. Now this car has a problem with its steering. It shakes when you put your foot on the brake, and I have tried everything under the sun to fix that, and I'm hoping that maybe mucking around with the caster will help, but it's only a stab in the dark. It's an ongoing problem to try and fix that one. Other than that, really, the 7's in not too bad a condition, and hopefully at some point, once I finish restoring the old Dolly, it'll be back on the road and be used. So once you've done all that, what are your plans for it? Yeah, once I've got it back going properly again, it'll be a matter of using it for car club events. I've got 3 Triumphs, so it's a matter of sharing them around when they're all going. car shows and you know, I go filming on events and officialing at some events, and so I just sort of share the duties around, and all the cars do a little bit, but I don't have any great plans to do any events with it. So it'll just be a club weekend car. Now Triumphs have a bit of a history for not being the most reliable car there is. How have you found the old TR7? Well, actually it's surprising. The TR7 has been one of the most reliable cars I've had. In recent years it started to give me a little bit of trouble, but for the most part, for all those years as a road car, it performed very well. It blew a head gasket at one point on the original engine, and other than that, now some years ago I wrote a book, a little book, I wouldn't call it a book, about breakdown stories. I think there was 17 breakdown stories in my car owning life, and of those stories I think there was only 2 about the TR7, and 2 or 3 maybe, and all of those were stories about, it still got me home. You know, having an oil leak or something that meant I had to put oil in it all the time in order to get it home. I think a rotor button problem, that I had to get a rotor button from an accessory shop in a country town out in the back of nowhere, and that got it going. It didn't run very well, but it got me home. And so yeah, the TR7 compared to the Dolly, which has been a bit of a long story of breakdowns. And just on another note, the Marina I had for 7 years or so, and rallied it and used it as my road car and what have you, I could not write a breakdown story on that car. It always got me home. So yeah, the TR7's been a pretty good, reliable thing. Well, thanks for that chat about the TR7. I'm Quack McMullard. Bye for now.